Welcome to our podcast and strap in for Movie Monday.
Hi, I'm Minky Madison.
And I'm Jack Green.
Today's Movie Monday film is Child's Play, the 2019 version. It's a horror sci-fi directed by Lars Klevberg and starring Aubrey Plaza and Gabrielle Bateman, and it's rated R. The synopsis is, a mother gives her son a smart buddy doll for his birthday, and he gets more than she bargained for. Well, hello.
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 Let me just get... Howdy doody, how's your booty?
Okay, so I gave the movie 4 out of 5 kernels. I thought it was a really fun movie, so it ranked high for me. But could have just been my mood. I think everyone has that sometimes. How many kernels did you give it?
It's funny, I actually totally agree with you. I also gave it 4, and I just feel it was really well done, and it was a nice change from the original while still keeping true to the original spirit. I was pretty impressed, actually. I didn't think I would like it very much. Okay, stop and watch the movie first now, or strap in for major Child's Play movie spoilers. Do you want to say your favorite line first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my favorite line was said by Mike, who was a cop, and he said, "Even the hearing disabled don't want to listen to me."
That was a good one.
Which I thought was really funny. What was yours?
So, strangely enough, I have 4, and it wasn't that one. But they're pretty short. So, one was, are you like a 4th floor hobo?
That was funny. I do remember that.
Yeah, and then, go to bed, Andy Sup. And I made you a present, a busted stick. And then my last one was, the skin's on a melon. Why is there fruit involved?
Yeah, I do remember that one. That was funny.
Yes. Okay, so I'll jump into my cons.
Okay.
First, I want to say, I thought the maintenance guy was Jack Black for over half the movie. Until near the end when he's fixing Chucky. Something seemed off about him, and it was strange. He had hardly any screen time. But, so I wasn't 100% sure, which is good because then I looked it up during the basement scene, and the something that was off about him was it's actually actor Trent Reddekopp and not Jack Black at all. So that's why it was off. So my con is not that this actor did a bad job, just that I spent so long wondering if it was him or not. I felt they should have started the film with a disclaimer stating Jack Black isn't in it, so don't be fooled. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not really a con. It just made me laugh because for so long I was like, is it? Did you do that too, or was it just me?
I did have a problem with him. I didn't believe it was Jack Black. I did have a problem with the character and some of the stuff that happened. So that's actually on my cons list.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'm interested to hear that. Okay, so my other ones are, well, I honestly didn't have many, but all I'm saying is once again, a cat dies first.
Yeah.
It never seems to fail. Horror writers tend to sacrifice cats first for whatever reason, but I'll have to deal with that. And then just the unrealism of Andy's mom still being alive at the end. She would have 100% died that way in her life. They had her hanging by just her neck for about 10 minutes.
Interesting.
There's no way in hell her neck would have supported her body like that, in my opinion. Like, I don't see that happening.
We can get into that, actually.
Okay.
But does that wrap up your cons for them?
No, I just have 2 more. I initially didn't like Chucky's face. For whatever reason, I don't know. I thought it was really stupid looking. And I was like, wow, this is what they went with. But anyway, it grew on me. So actually, I'm cool with it now. And my last one was, I'm so sad that they killed the detective's mom off. She was a great character. And I was actually really rooting for her to survive in the car scene.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed when they let her go. I was like, no!
Yeah, I liked her character. She was funny.
Yeah, she was funny.
She was just had funny lines and a funny demeanor, attitude.
Yeah, her mannerisms and
She
everything.
was snarky, basically.
Yeah, she was great. You can go ahead and go into your cons. That was it.
So my cons are 100 long. No, I'm joking. Uh, I just have a few as well, not many. Some of them were around logical inconsistencies. It seems to be a futuristic film that has AI. So Chucky is an AI, basically. That's pretty advanced. It was just that he was violent. He didn't have the parameters to protect the consumers from him, you know? But
Right.
the technology was that was just standard what was in the doll. But her son had a hearing aid. So it just felt like they would have be able to fix that type of medical problem before we have like AI, or at least once we have AI, I assume we would be able to fix a problem like that.
I
And
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I think this wasn't taking place way in the future because we kind of have. No, I mean we don't have smart dolls like that exactly, but we have similar things, and I feel like it's not that big of a leap. So maybe
yeah,
having
it's
because okay, if you
possible.
look at sorry, if you look at like Google Home
Hmm.
and whatever the Kindle one is, Kindle Fire, what is it?
Alexa.
Alexa. They're not quite the same, but they're very similar in that they do the lights, they do the TV, they talk to you, you can ask them questions, you know what I mean? So to me, it felt like it wasn't that big of a jump from that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we've solved all the health complication type things with technology, but that was just my opinion. But I can see where you're going with it.
Yeah, especially because we have cochlear implants now, which fix certain types of hearing problems, but not all of them, obviously. So it just seems like if I just was convinced that once we crack AI and have a doll that can move around independently, the sensors that it would take to operate a doll like that are highly
Mm-hmm.
advanced. So I feel like if a doll
See,
can,
the other thing I could think about with that is she was poor. Remember, she said she was saving up for, so maybe the technology exists, they just can't afford it.
that's a good point. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
So that was one of them, a small flaw, I thought. The other was when Gabe falls on the saw. Do you recall that part? It
Yeah.
it felt like he could have just swung himself a couple degrees to the left or right and completely missed it. The base of that saw was very small compared to him. Like so the it just felt odd that he was hanging from a pipe and he couldn't just swing himself to avoid it.
That is a good point.
That was a small table saw. Like it wasn't a large. There's much larger ones I've seen, and you can't avoid that. But this, I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. And the pipe heated up really fast. So Chucky appears to be connected to like every device, which
Hmm.
I just thought it was odd that he's connected to like a thermostat. They seem to be a toy company like Caslin does, and it doesn't seem like they would have devices like thermostats, but rather
Well,
toys.
so it is a toy company, but if you remember in the beginning, and I think just it's dotted throughout that they actually have TVs that they produce and a lot of different things that they control. But I don't actually remember what you're referring to pipe wise.
The Chucky basically tapped into the heating system in the basement where he was, and it turned it on full max. So that pipe heated up very hot, so that he would be able to hold on to it, and he would fall in the saw.
Yeah, that does seem a little much because a technology company normally doesn't have like literally everything. So
Yeah,
that is
at
a bit
least
of.
not one that produces like a child's doll, like also produces TVs and thermostats and all
Mhm.
this other
Well,
type of
my
technology.
understanding, my take, I guess, or like how what I thought happened was it is a technology company, and then they just came out with this for kids. But I don't think that they're actually a toy company. But maybe I'm wrong on that. I really don't know. I didn't pay
This
attention
is
to.
true, yeah. Thought that was kind of a flaw.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the ending could have been longer. It felt really short, the ending to the movie. I would have liked them to do more. They just had the drones basically, and that was it, attacking people. Oh, well, they had other dolls too. I just would have liked that scene to be longer and for them to do more with it. So that was another flaw in my opinion. Do you remember how you recall, she was hanging from her neck and that surely would have killed her?
Yes.
It was a slow lift though, with a forklift that lifted her up. So
I even
she would have had to choke to death.
that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like she would have choked. Like I get that it didn't snap her neck back, right? But pretend someone's lifting you up by your neck. I feel like you would choke to death, like you're saying, like you would be dead. Like I don't think you could be lifted up by the whole weight of your body like that by your neck and just not die.
Yeah, I think it would depend on how tight the noose was around her neck. So yeah, if when it lifted her up, even though it did it slowly, if it would have tightened enough, it would have choked her immediately.
But
Now,
wouldn't
if
it have
there's
to be tight in order to lift her body? If it's not tight, it would have just fallen off her and she would have fallen. You know what I mean? It had to be tight enough to actually lift her weight.
Yeah, I'm sure it was tight enough to lift her weight. But it didn't. It has to actually sink into the flesh around her neck and actually start restricting the arteries in her neck and everything and her windpipe. So there's a difference. You can be lifted up on your neck and it not restrict those things, and
But
so you wouldn't choke. It would just hurt.
but do you think like just your neck? Because I would buy it if it was also tied around like her shoulders and there was more to it. But to me, it looked like it was just tied around her neck, which I don't care how slow you do it. I feel like it would snap your neck.
It could, I suppose. It was. I can see both sides of it, so I can see where there might be some plausibility that she wouldn't be strangled to death immediately. But
Yeah.
I agree that it definitely could happen in that situation, depending on how tight the noose was. So it could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It just to me was so bizarre. I was like, "Are you kidding me? They're trying to like keep her alive for 10 minutes by her neck."
Yeah,
I don't know. It blew my mind a little bit, but I guess it is possible.
and I could have sworn when I saw a trailer, it looked like it had a different ending, but that's just speculation. I'd have to actually go back and look at the trailer, but
It
I could
could
have
have.
sworn it was a different ending.
It could have. Sometimes the director has his own idea for an ending, and it doesn't always make the final cut for whatever reason. I don't know how they decide that.
Yeah. So what were your pros about the film?
So I really enjoyed the different take on the idea that Chucky is a smart doll and the humor throughout. For instance, I love that the boyfriend's head on a melon ended up being presented as a gift to the neighbor. It was, it's just ridiculous and great at the same time. So I just liked that. And then I like that they made Chucky more human and that he genuinely loves Andy. And most of what goes wrong is actually just his misunderstandings of the situation as he learns about the world around him. And
Mm-hmm.
he really only betrays Andy once he's attacked by him. So I just liked the humanness of him, I guess. And then the gore in the movie was well done and typically humorous, which I'm all for. Right? Especially the end with the mascot being stabbed in the neck and the blood spraying
Yeah.
over the girl's face. That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked the cast. I think everybody melded pretty well. And the kids were good actors, which is a big plus too.
Yeah.
All in all, I quite enjoyed the movie and definitely recommend it for those who like the original or campy horror movies in general.
I agree. My pros were the same as yours, pretty much. It was an interesting new concept where they focused on AI technology instead of like spirit of a serial killer
Mm-hmm.
inhabiting the doll, like in the original films. So I like the new concept of introducing AI, and it's actually more believable in that
Mm-hmm.
sense, because
Yeah.
that's a struggle that we will deal with is the ethics of artificial intelligence. So despite changing the origin of Chucky, they were able to keep the tone of the series, the comedy horror. I think that's one of the reasons why I liked it. It still felt like Chucky to me,
Yeah.
but it was also at the same time different. I did like Chucky's face, how it was different. It reminded me of someone, and I can't think of who it was. Chucky's face. I was gonna say Conan O'Brien,
Oh,
but it's not.
wait, who was
Um,
I gonna say?
I was gonna say Conan O'Brien,
Oh my
but
God, I love Conan O'Brien. I promise you no.
he just has a. I think he maybe had a face that Conan O'Brien makes, maybe like a facial expression that
Oh,
Conan
that
O'Brien's
could
done.
be.
For some reason, his face popped up when I saw Chucky.
Are you sure you're thinking of Conan O'Brien? Because I thought you didn't like Conan O'Brien, or maybe I'm
I don't know
wrong.
who I was thinking of when I looked at Chucky. That's just
Do you
something
like
about the
Conan
shape of the
O'Brien?
face. Yeah, he's good. I've seen
He's
him only a few times.
he's the real tall guy that has the night talk show, and he's got red hair.
Hmm.
Okay, just make maybe it's just the red hair. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it could be. There's nothing I can point to where I was like, that's why I pictured him, but something
Yeah.
about Chucky's face reminded me of that.
Oh, you know what? He may do a bit about Chucky or something. Because now that you say that, I kind of know what you mean about the face thing. Because I was just picturing some of his expressions and stuff.
Yeah,
I kind
exactly.
of get what you mean now. That's
Yeah, so I thought that was overall a really great horror comedy that a lot of people would like. But yeah, it's just funny that Chucky could do all this, but he didn't have any sensors, or at least visible sensors on his face. I mean, when you look into AI, like, and what would be necessary for something like Chucky to actually exist, you would have to have
Hmm.
like short and long range depth sensors, heat sensor. You know, it's complex and
Yeah.
so I don't know how to phrase it, but he was missing so much from what I could see to be capable of anything that he did.
So he had like the ET finger going. You know how it would light up and that was
Yeah,
like
that was interesting.
he had that, and then he also had his eyes were. Remember when he first gets the doll, he's reading Andy's face and
Hmm.
everything.
Oh, you're
Well,
right. I forgot about that.
yeah, so I think they incorporated a little bit of it, but yeah, maybe not enough to actually do what all the things he did.
Yeah, I mean, think about when he choked the cat, how much hand strength he would need to do that and still keep himself upright. So he walks over to the cat, he picks it up. The doll has to weigh more than the cat, or he'll just fall over. So,
Well, it's technology is normally pretty heavy. Like I was just telling you the other day, my phone to me is really heavy. So maybe even though he looks like a pretty light doll, maybe he's heavier than he looks. Because actually, in the original, when we watched that, remember you were talking
mhm,
about when he runs off the counter and throws the woman out the window? No.
with a hammer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was the hammer, and it was a kid hammer, right? It was a play hammer, like plastic, not even a real one. I don't think it was anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was such a quick scene. It was hard to actually deduce if it was real or not. But yeah, that you're right. That was kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, because I remember when we talked about it after, you were like, "What in the world? Like, there's no way he would have been strong enough for that." That was funny.
Yeah, so it's just the things he did was amazing. So you need to be able to walk and run around like that. It also didn't go into how he gets in and out of the house. Like when he goes and kills the mom's boyfriend, he somehow follows him home, or I don't know if it ever really told you how he made it over there and made it back. I like little details like that. Just something small to let me know, like how he did it.
Yeah. My assumption is like a window or something, but you're right. I don't think it actually showed.
Because they live in an apartment, so he would have to make it all the way back up there. I don't know. It's just a little hard to believe, but I don't know. And I mean that apartment appliance guy, Gabe, he
Oh,
was kind of
yes,
a perv. Did you see?
he was. Yeah, that was crazy. He had like cameras all throughout their apartment, which was weird. And it seemed like that wasn't the first time he watched her get naked, and I didn't expect that.
Yeah, and I don't know why he kept saying Caslin lights on. Like I get why he would want to turn the lights on in that situation. That's not a mystery to me, but for me personally, and I feel like most people, if they were in that situation, they'd be the hell out of there. Like they would be out of the basement within less than 10 seconds. I'm not sticking around.
Oh, you mean once Chucky was messing with him?
As soon as the doll disappeared, that would be a big red flag for me. But I would say it's at least until he cut my leg, I'd be gone immediately after that. But he seems to
Yeah.
like really hang out for a while. He must have said Caslin lights on like 7 times. I don't know. It just seemed
Yeah,
odd
you're
to me.
right. That isn't very. Although at the same time, we're watching it knowing this doll is evil and crazy. I think in real life we wouldn't expect, even if a doll like went missing, right? We would probably assume it like fell or something, and we couldn't see it with the lights off, just because it's so unbelievable that a doll's alive and running around. So I can see what you're saying though, because he definitely does it way longer than anyone would, I think, too.
Yeah, that doll must have cut him like 3 or 4 times before he even, took a defensive posture. Like, so it just was odd.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's nuts. Yeah, like you said, the first time we'd be like, "What the hell?" and running out of there. At the
Uh,
very least, getting away from it, whatever
Yeah,
it
and
is.
can you tell me why? Man, because I missed this. Could you tell me why he wanted to kill Gabe? Gabe wasn't a threat to Andy's friendship, like his friendship with Andy. So why kill Gabe?
You know what? That's a good point because really, it wasn't anything against Andy, and in fact, he saved him because he brought him back to life. Uh,
Yeah,
I guess, but yeah, they don't really explain that. I guess just Chucky is filled with rage at this point, maybe, and just wants to kill everything because Andy doesn't love him. I don't know, but yeah, it really isn't explained. Oh, you know what? Maybe no, because he could have just escaped. I was gonna say maybe it was because he was gonna try to sell him on eBay,
yeah.
but
That's what my other thought was. Is he was angry that he was going to try to keep him apart from Andy by selling him. But
Yeah.
so that could have precipitated the violence, but it still doesn't make sense why he wouldn't just leave. I guess he felt like as a computer, he would always be pursued by Gabe until he annihilated him, took him out of the equation. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably right on the money there. I think
he
you're right.
doesn't, yeah, an AI or a machine wouldn't be trained to flee. They wouldn't have a human emotions. They would just want to eliminate problems. So I think maybe that's why. So that kind of solved the mystery for me there.
Yeah, me too. And I didn't even notice there was a mystery until you said that. There was a mystery, and I was like, oh God, I didn't even catch that. And then you solved it, so that was nice.
And the ending with drones.
That was
Out of all
so
the things he
funny to
could
me.
use,
What was that?
would I said out of all the things he could use to try to like go to war with people in the store, drones was a little odd choice. I
Yeah, and
don't
then the
know.
way that he used them, where the blades are just like cutting people's faces, like it was. I think it was more for humor, not like realism, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I think
funny.
you're right. And the teddy bears, whatever the next doll was supposed to be. Remember they were like bears or something with blue eyes.
Yeah, it was
Um,
actually kind of cute.
so yeah, it was a weird choice of drones, but it makes sense. There really wasn't a lot in the store he could do to attack people.
Yeah, and not everything is probably electronic. So yeah, maybe he was limited by what was available.
And
Yeah.
I will hand it to the film that they did a good job of showing how they radicalized him, basically, because Chucky was not violent at first. The first instinct of violence he had was the cat, but after
Yeah,
that, his friends were teaching him to stab stuff, and he literally enacted that out throughout the rest, saying what they told him to say, doing what they tried to get him to do.
yeah, that was funny when he would say the different lines that he heard.
Yeah, when he killed the mother's boyfriend, he did that exactly the way, well, not exactly, but very similar to the way the kid showed him. Remember, he stabbed him and he
Mm-hmm.
said the same lines.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like he's on a delay or something.
yeah,
Because they tried to
so
get him to say it and do that for quite a while, and then like the next day he's got it down. I don't know.
yeah, so that was cool. It's kind of disturbing. Like I said, I wonder if we create AI, if we'll have something similar to that, something that could actually hurt you.
Yeah, I hope not.
Do you
That's
remember the movie AI with Haley Joel Osment? We watched that,
yeah, that's a great movie.
and Chucky kind of
Five
reminded me of the.
kernels.
Hmm?
Sorry, five kernels for
Five.
AI.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a very good movie. But the bear in that reminded me of Chucky actually in terms of his capability to move around and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Only obviously that was a more positive view of AI, where it's actually what Chucky was supposed to be, a lifelong friend that never left you and looked out for you, right? It's actually
Mm.
uncanny now. That's exactly what Chucky was supposed to be.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good parallel, actually.
Yet it went horribly wrong. But AI I don't know what time period that's set in, but it's in the far future. so
Hmm.
hearing aids are a thing of the past. Maybe that's where AI needs to stay until we can reach that point.
Yeah, if they're gonna try to kill us, probably not the greatest invention ever.
Yeah. I wonder, it did leave it open for a sequel at the end. Did you see that?
Yeah, where his eyes lit up.
Yeah, now would I
That was
want to see another sequel? I don't know, but
what I don't get is we watched the kids smash him.
uh-huh.
So is that just a different Chucky doll at that point then? That because it didn't really explain. Because we see in the beginning the only reason Chucky was like that is because that guy in the warehouse changed his programming
Well,
to
that
where
chip.
yeah. So if they killed him and smashed him up and everything, I mean, did the maintenance guy show up at the store and put him back together again and then put him in the box? Like, I just don't understand, like, how he was put back together. Unless, and if it's a different one, there's no explanation as to why. You know?
Yeah, well, the maintenance guy died on the
Oh,
saw, so
I
I don't
know.
think it was him.
I was just kidding. Because, yeah, unless his corpse did that, which would be even weirder.
My guess is that that programmer that originally altered the chip, he was never brought to justice. At least that it showed you. So maybe he's still working at that company, and this is his way of getting revenge. Maybe he's still doing that. Maybe he's still taking chips and messing with them.
That could be, but the boss told him he was fired, remember? He's like, finish that doll and go back to the streets where I found you or something, because like he didn't like him, something, he messed something up or something, remember?
But what? Yeah, I know that's true. But what happened was he said you're fired. Then he walked away. He messed with the chip, and you see a couple seconds later the doll throw the boss out of the office, and he lands on a car. So the boss died.
Oh, that was the boss that died? I
That's my
thought that,
guess.
see, I thought it was, I'm actually glad you brought that up because I actually forgot about that. I thought that was him, the guy that messed the chip up that just like committed suicide after or something. I actually meant to rewind that and look and see what actually happened again, and then I just forgot.
Yeah, my guess is that the order of events was the boss fired him. He got revenge by messing with the chip and then unleashing the doll on him. So it killed the boss. He keeps his job, and the boss is dead, and he gets to keep doing whatever it is he's doing.
But wait, who killed the boss?
The Chucky doll that he took the
But
chip out of.
but he couldn't have, because remember the Chucky doll is a child basically when Andy first opens him. He doesn't know anything. He's like super sweet, and remember? So I don't see him just not knowing anything and then killing some random guy.
That's weird. So I guess in that case, maybe the chip programmer messed with the chip. He used the doll to kill his boss, and then he starts messing with the other chips, and Andy got a fresh doll with the altered chip that the
But
programmer's been messing with.
how does Chucky kill that guy at all? Because it was all so fast. Like he didn't have time, and it was all the same. To me, it looked like it was all the same instance. I don't see how he'd have time to mess with the chip, teach this Chucky doll to murder. Like, wouldn't he have just murdered him himself or something?
Yeah, maybe should be on our con list then. It doesn't seem like the order of events here are very clear on
Yeah.
what happened first.
Yeah, I would like to rewatch that scene and just see if I missed something because I want to know what the heck happened. Or maybe, yeah, maybe they just didn't explain it. I don't know.
The only other alternative I can think of is maybe the reason he went up to him and fired him is because he's been continually messing with the chips. And
Um,
there was a doll up in the office that actually killed the boss. And he continued his, reprogramming of the chips. So maybe that's how the doll could be up there and kill him already, is because he's been doing this for a long time, messing with the chips and
yeah,
removing the safety protocols.
because you're right. Now that you say that, it's not like they announced this was the first time he did it or anything. It seemed to be, but they could just allude to that, and it could be that he's been doing it for months or something.
Yeah, and it really didn't give you a motive on why he would even want to do that. Like, he was not an arch villain of the film, so like, I don't, like, why is he messing with the chips? Like, for what purpose? Just to be.
It seemed like he wanted, when he got fired or whatever, it was kind of a FU to the boss, which still doesn't really make sense because he's basically just screwing some kid over. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because if it was an FU to the boss, which is what I originally believed it to be, how could the doll have gotten up there and killed the boss? Like, because it literally happened, very quickly.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. This might have to go in our cons list.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
But
I
still a
definitely am
good
going to look
movie.
into
Yeah, it's definitely still a good movie if you don't think too deeply, which is probably what their intent was.
throw logic out the window and it's brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like that.
But yeah, if you think about what the movie is, it's like a horror with comedy elements, a child's doll that goes kind of psycho. I think it's probably okay if it doesn't totally follow logic just because it's not
None of
trying
the
to be.
other films did either. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the whole series. I don't think it's trying to pretend like it's a realistic movie in any way.
I wonder if the doll's voice was the same
Oh,
actor.
I'm so glad you said that because I looked at it when I found out Jack Black was not in this movie. It's Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill did.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like, what?
yeah. I never knew he had a odd voice until I did some research into him. So he's actually a good voice actor. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I never would have guessed that was Mark Hamill. I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
yeah, this edition was much better than Bride of Chucky. Like I've never been a fan of the later Chuckies. I just think they're more hyper bizarre than ever before.
I would like
So
to watch them to see what I think because I've really only seen the first one.
yeah, I did. I shared that with you. I like the first one. and even a couple after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anytime he starts actually becoming a physical little boy and then gets a bride, and that's jumping the shark a little bit at that point.
Oh, he becomes a physical boy at some point? That's weird.
Well, you saw in the original movie, the first film, that the longer he stayed in the body, the more real he became, and he could be shot and bleed. And I think that in the later movies, he's actually more human.
I
So
see.
he actually has like physical flesh and everything. So just weird.
I guess it depends on how it's done, but it sounds like it wasn't done very well, so I probably wouldn't like it either.
Yeah, you might something to try.
Yeah.
But maybe I just like the first films more. Like I'm just more passionate about them. And the cat thing upset me because the cat was really crying and everything. Like,
Yes, that was messed up. I'm never a fan of it, but yeah, this was even sadder.
yeah, it was. The cat scene was worse than the last one. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he even was playing the cat crying, like being killed. He had it on like a recording loop, and he was
Yeah.
playing it for Andy.
When he was going to bed and he was playing it in the
Yeah,
dark.
that's
That
what
was
that was. Yeah.
that was pitiful. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because actually I meant to mention how horrid. I just kind of touched on it, but yeah, that was horrible.
I'm just worried they were gonna kill the dog too, but they didn't, thank God. So
There was a dog in this movie?
his two friends, Fallon and Pug, they had a dog, a really cute dog, but it was never really hurt by the doll or anything.
Oh, that's so funny. I don't remember a dog at all.
Yeah, it was
Was it?
hardly in the movie. It was like two scenes with the dog.
Okay.
But I was worried
Yeah.
have it hurt the dog.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I can imagine every animal. He's just an animal slayer at that point.
Yeah, that would upset me even worse. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was good.
It was a good time. Now we have to sing the Chucky song as we exit.
I can't even remember that.
I don't either. It was something like buddy. Be my buddy. I'm your buddy. We're all buddies or something.
Yeah, that was a good song. Nice and creepy.
Just like I like my horror songs.
So, in closing, Child's Play is a great horror comedy that I think any lover of horror and comedy would enjoy.
So yeah, that was a fun one. Good pick.
Thank you. So that's a wrap. We will see you next time.